Hey everyone, it's Marissa. So I forgot to film an intro for this video, but this is just going to be like for beginners if anyone wants to recreate this look at home. It's of Anonymous if you haven't heard of him already before. It's just like kind of like this guy who's hacked. He's mainly known for just hacking things on the internet and just leaking things from the government and wearing like this specific mask and stuff. So I'm just recreating the mask with face paints. So if you're interested to see this look and if you're a beginner yourself and you're not too sure how to do it, then just keep on watching. So I'm going to be using like this face paint set, and I've never used it before, but all of the paints seem really super nice. I did buy a previous paint set off of Amazon, but I had to delay like doing these types of tutorials because whenever I received it, there was like a bunch of weird little wet spots on it. Like, I don't know if they were spores or anything, like from moisture or some sort of mold. So I didn't want to risk it, and I got a completely new brand. It's pretty similar, just in the packaging and the shades itself, and I didn't have any of those weird mildew kind of things come up in this. Besides like the green one, there was a little bit. I still see it slightly, but not nearly as bad as the other one. I don't remember the brand of it, but if you're interested in this, I will link it down below. So what I'm going to be doing first is, I've always seen those different types of Halloween makeup looks where it looks like someone has the mask on their face, and I kind of want to do that same thing. Now, I've never watched like a makeup tutorial of someone else doing it, so maybe they did the main mask first, but what I'm going to do is actually start and create like an outline around my face with like shading first of like the actual shadow, like as if it was on my face and you just saw the shadows all around it. So very lightly, I'm going to actually take the Ulta Beauty or any kind of eyeliner pencil in the shade black, and I'm just going to be creating an outline with that first, and then afterwards using just like some paint brushes or something and just blending everything in, and just basically just like how I said, create like a shadow from there. So like how I said, I'm just going to be taking an unused paintbrush and just taking some of that black face paint, mainly just putting it on the outsides of the mask, obviously, and just blending everything out using just any kind of beauty blender sponge. And I just had like a little triangular one that I was using afterwards, and I just kind of created a less streakiness look to it. In person, you can definitely tell, but on camera, not as much. And then afterwards, I also did set it with some black eyeshadow powder as well in the shade Spooky from the James Charles palette. Now, I was gonna do like just a shadow like the mask on my actual face, but instead I think I just want it to be blending in with like the black in the background, because what he normally wears in most of the pictures and the reference photos that I'm looking at is just like a black hoodie and just like the hoodie on top of his face. So all of this would be covered, so that's why I'm only going to my neck. And it looks really weird right now because I'm just wearing like a normal sweater, and so like my face just looks really abnormally shaped. But that's before I put on like the white face paint. Now, I don't know if I should have done that first or not. I'm kind of just experimenting with how I like to do face paint, because like how I said, I've never used one of these types of palettes before for face paint or for like Halloween in general. I just normally use normal makeup, eyeliner pencils, and like, you know, eyeshadow palettes and stuff to create something like this. So this is definitely a lot more faster and easier in my opinion so far. And what I've been using so far is just a normal paintbrush that I've never used before, and just keeping this for like any type of face paint that I'll be using on my skin and just rinsing it off afterwards. So now I'm going to be going in with just like the white and just really keeping a nice crisp like clean edge, because you don't really want it to blend in too much or else you're going to get like this really kind of muddy gray. So I'm going to really just take my time with that with the white face paint now, and then I'm going to be setting it with a white eyeshadow afterwards. So now I'm just going to be taking that white face paint and just carefully putting that on my face. I didn't prime or anything, but you can if you want to, if you're going to be wearing this for a long time. I didn't, but I did like moisturize my face and everything before, so I didn't really need a primer, but it's all up to you. And then I set everything down with the shade Flashback from the James Charles palette using a Real Technique sponge. Okay, Okay, so now that we have the white set, I can't believe how yellow it makes my teeth look. Like, this looks so weird. I kind of look like a mime a little bit, but that's not the point. Now we're going to be taking the eyeliner pencil, and what I'm going to be doing is basically just sketching out the eyebrows. Now, I'm sure some people, or most people, probably have like glued their eyebrows down before all this, but I'm not really going to do that. I feel like my eyebrow shape kind of just matches the way the mask looks, so I'm just kind of going to draw over that and just like set everything down with like, you know, just black eyeshadow afterwards. But I'm gonna fill everything in if I'm able to with the eyeliner pencil. If not, I'm just gonna go back in with the black face paint. And so basically I'm just gonna be drawing the eyebrows. I'm looking at like a reference image over here, so that's why I keep looking over here, but I'm gonna be drawing the eyebrows, kind of like darkening the eyes as well, and obviously like the mustache and the facial features. And before I do that, the more I'm looking at it, I probably should add the blush first, because if I do the black first, it's gonna just smudge so much. So I'm just gonna be taking a Morphe M433 brush, and it's not like a whole ton of blush, it's kind of like a clowny circular blush. So I'm gonna be taking like this peachy color from the James Charles palette and just blending it with this hot pink shade. And I'm just gonna slightly just add that in, because it's not like too pink of a color. And yeah, right now I look like a mime, but it's kind of like this circular blush shade. And I'm just going to be doing that, and then like how I said, adding in the outlines and just filling that in. This look is pretty simple, but I just wanted to start off with something kind of simple, just because like how I said, I'm not really used to face paints or anything like that. So I think this would be a pretty good start, and especially for beginners, if you're watching this, I think this would also be a really good beginner makeup tutorial if you're interested in trying to recreate something for Halloween. And the two shades that I did use from the James Charles palette was Mary and Skip, and then afterwards I just used a Real Techniques Beauty Complexion sponge again and just tried to blend it in. And I went back and forth with this until I was pleased with how it looks. And then afterwards, that's when I'm drawing on the brows and just adding all of those main shapes in before shadowing or anything else like that. I did add in some eyeliner too, just because the mask technically is squinting. He's like closing his eyes, and it does kind of exaggerate that facial feature, so it is a little bit darker in those areas with the shadow and everything. So that's completely up to you, but I feel like in my opinion there is a little bit where you could add some eyeliner, so that's exactly what I did. And then afterwards, this is where I started adding a lot more shadows using a different brush. And then I really blended everything in using just a little beauty blender as well. And to just create a lot of value and a lot more depth with the shadows, I would recommend just adding a lot more of like the grayer tones on the sides of the mask, because you want to keep like a really nice clean line to the top and bottom of the face, because that way it still looks like a mask on your face. But if you were to add that grayish kind of tone all around, then it would just look a little bit too blended in. So I just stuck to the sides of my face and mainly my temples, and then I went back in with an even darker black, which is the face paint. And I really wanted to round out the cheeks even more, so I did use a little bit of a pink face paint as well. And I think I added a little bit too much, so I wouldn't add as much because there's really not that much blush to it. But then I rounded out the cheeks even more with just more white face paint and just kind of cleaned it up a little bit and brightened some areas. Then I'm just setting parts of the face with certain powders like the white eyeshadow and the black eyeshadow, and just kind of sculpting the areas a little bit more. And then afterwards I'm adding the smile lines, and then that's basically it. look. This is pretty, definitely something different than what I normally do on this channel. Now obviously it's not completely completed until after the outfit and everything, so I'll be right back. So this is what it looks like. Now obviously if you went out wearing this, you could also wear like a turtleneck or something that's black, or you could just take the face paint and make it all the way down. I didn't want to do that just because of how messy it is right now, and I'm just going to be taking it immediately off after this video. But I think what I could have done, since this is my first time using any kind of face paint or anything, that I could have like just maybe toned it down a little bit on the blush, and also maybe kind of darkened it even more, because like I didn't want to darken it too much so you guys could just see during the daylight, but I feel like the shadows would really help, especially out at night and stuff, just to really make some of these like facial features pop out even more, like with the cheekbones and everything. I did that with the smile lines right here, so if I smile you can definitely see that like in the mask and the photos. But I think this is not too bad for my very first time using face paint or anything like that. And like how I said, the only thing that I don't really like about using white face paint is how yellow it makes my teeth look, so I'm gonna try not to smile that much. But I really like how this turned out, and if you enjoy these types of videos, if you want to see more different Halloween makeup looks, you can always comment down below what you would like to see next. I always like to take you guys' recommendations and make them into a video, because I just really like hearing you guys' feedback. And I upload sometimes on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. And you can always just hit the notification bell if you're interested to see more videos from me in the future, and just to subscribe down below. And I'll just see you guys next time. Bye!